Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, Lord. I want to cross over into campground. Deep river, my home is over Jordan, Jordan deep, deep river, Lord. I want to cross over into campground. Oh, don't you wanna go to that gospel feast, that promised land, where all is peace? Oh, deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Hi, everybody. I happen to be coming from getting an oil change, and I had to rap by here, and I said, I was watching a movie, and that song was being sung, and it is such a beautiful voice, black woman, who was singing it and altering it a little bit. It's an old slave spiritual. I remember I learned it perhaps when I was in high school, and maybe got to perform it a couple times. But anyway, I felt odd about it because, I was a religious person back then, having been raised Roman Catholic and exploring other churches, Baptists and whatnot. And I didn't want to give the wrong impression by doing that song. But anyway, it's kind of chilly out here. I'm just going to sit here for a minute and talk about a few things. I really think it is so sad that people are not awake. All these people in religious groups, I don't care what they are, Christian, Judaism, Islam, all of that stuff is created to hold people down, and those people don't even have a clue, just as I didn't, and now when you become conscious, and there's so much to learn, and it can really make you apathetic about the whole human race. In fact, Bobby Hemmett teaches us to realize, first of all, that we are not human. We're something else. And everybody on the planet, the people in power, that is, they know that. They've always known that. And so for generations, people have been put upon in certain ways as to suppress the Kundalini energy, which they knew at this time would rise. And therefore, we are under attack in every way. I don't have to list again all the ways. The women's body, female reproductive organs, all manner of both disease, from diabetes to both HIV, to high blood pressure. Do you know my dad had 2 heart surgeries? One was so what's that word? Cauterized, whatever. It was so impacted that they couldn't get a stent through it. So he had a second surgery, and they were able to make a little progress. That is, if he hadn't been cloned. because I'm not certain. I know my dad, and he has been different since then. And most people will chalk it up and say, well, he's just an old man now, and he's gonna change. But knowing what we know about cloning, and my dad worked all his life, so any little thing he has left, they may just want to get it all, like they've done all my, just everybody, all the things that we've learned about how horrible it is on this fucked up planet. We are living among psychopaths. You know, nobody wants to admit that. You know, I guess if people have a job and they got children and they may get to laugh once or twice a week and they have somewhere to go to be around other people, it makes it seem like something to look forward to love. But for me, every day I wake up, I say to myself, God damn, I'm back in this bitch. Somebody let me out of here. It's just that bad. When you realize what an illusion is, that this entire outer brain is the Matrix. Incidentally, I watched an incredible movie last night on Netflix. It's called The Beyond. And I just want to urge you to see it, but it was about how they can take the brain out of a person and put it in a robot. Transhumanism, they call it. So they can explore space, looking for a place for themselves because they know they don't have that melanin. Now, when you learn how to watch a movie, you can decode some of the symbolism. There were black holes everywhere and mist, black mist. We've been educating about that. Bobby Emmett and others taught us how to decode these movies. But it seemed like a documentary style, the way that they made it, although I don't think that it is true. Even though I think it points toward the truth of what is coming, which is us, this black hole situation that we are in, and the dissipation of those who are not melanin. So it's about the white person's search for any and everything that they can do to prolong their existence. And yet, in the end of the movie, they managed to come to the realization that all the fears that they had about anything that they don't really understand, they try to kill it, they shoot it, they take that a military approach. And this entity, which was a black, misty, alien type entity, I believe that was indicative of melanin and dark matter. They even mention those terms. And so all the horrible things that they do to other people, genociding indigenous people all over the planet, slavery, miseducation, lies, and deception. You know, it must be horrible to be a white person. How do you sleep at night? Knowing that even if you're not like that, that all the people like you are like that. And then you don't stand up and say anything about it. But that's what happens. But you know, I was even thinking, you know, and I hate to say this on camera, but like I said, if somebody is in their 20s, because cloning black people began heavily in the 70s, which means by the 80s or 90s, their parents could very well have been a part of the cloning process. And so some of these people, even the ones online that we enjoy watching, that are controversial, although they seem smart, you know, what if they're clones? Especially if you've been in prison and we know what happens in there. And so, because I had so many friends who had spent, not so many, but I had friends who had spent their entire 20s. They maybe broke the law at a young age and ended up in prison for 10 years. Got out around 30 or 31. And then, you know, what are you supposed to do with yourself? No woman wants you because you don't have any money. Can't get a job because you got a record. So this system that this white man has set up, where he tracks every fucking thing you do from birth, everything that happened in school, in every school, every behavioral infraction, every traffic ticket, everything. And he's got a record of it for life, and he uses that against you to keep you back, to withhold opportunities. And yet he goes around the world killing people like a fucking psychopathic murderer. That's what happens. And I am never going to pretend that I like that or will ever adjust to it. So being on this bullshit ass planet, it don't mean shit for me, other than the fact that the prophecy says that we will rise again. Twinkle in an eye. And then we'll be able to make some things happen around here. I sung about that. I think about that. I hope every day that that happens. And then when I go to sleep and wake up, I go, fuck, I'm back in this bitch. Slave for another day. And I want it all to end. Everybody who transitioned over to the other side say that they are in a far better place and would not want to come back here. Now, whatever certain awakened ones of us there are who are still here, it must be for a purpose. And therefore, I hang on daily. Yes, Mama Nebthet. So, that gives me a little boost of energy right there. To know that I am on the right track. And this process does involve suffering. Suffering. That's what it's been since I incarnated here. You know, and I'm finally unafraid to admit that. Not putting on a happy face and smiling and acting like everything's okay and being positive. There ain't shit to be positive about that I can see. So, here we are at the beginning of the week. I hope I wake up tomorrow, a God again, and make some changes. But get through the week as best you can. All right? Love you, Mama Nebthet. I am Dr. Damien Q. Lester, a.k.a. Kabir Aminural, Pulsar Siddharati, the conscious Dr. Rainbow Warrior. Goodbye.